$85 million. That's the number that's echoing through team offices, shaking up scouting departments, and making sports analysts drop their coffee on live TV. This isn't your average contract rumor. This is a middle finger to NFL tradition, a cannonball into the carefully kept waters of the league's hierarchy. And at the root of it all? A turf toe. Not just any turf toe, Joe Burrow's turf toe. The golden boy of the Bengals, the franchise QB, the one who was supposed to carry Cincinnati through the next decade with swagger, toughness, and elite-level playmaking, now sidelined for 3 months minimum.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
And suddenly, just like that, the Bengals are staring into the abyss of quarterback mediocrity. Backup plans? Not good enough. Draft prep? Too far away. Veteran trade options? Washed or unavailable. So what do you do when you're a franchise that's tasted the Super Bowl, that's built a squad ready to win now, and your star QB goes down? You swing for the future. You call Shedeur Sanders. And you back the truck up. But this isn't just a bold move. This is a revolutionary one. The Bengals are reportedly prepared to drop $85 million on a college quarterback mid-season. Not a rookie. Not a draftee. A full-time college player. No combine. No draft order. No franchise ceremony. Just straight money, straight belief, and a signal to the league that the old rules? Irrelevant. Because Shedeur isn't just another quarterback. He's the son of Deion Sanders, arguably one of the most influential figures in the modern football era. He's been coached by a Hall of Famer, mentored in pressure, and raised in the spotlight. You think Cincinnati is just chasing hype? No. They're chasing a movement. And that's why this is so much bigger than a contract. It's about power. About control. About the NFL realizing that maybe, just maybe, they can't bottle talent in the same way anymore. That the pipelines they've polished for decades? Yeah, they've sprung a leak. And the flood looks a lot like Shedeur with a Rolex on his wrist and an entire brand built before he's even thrown a pro pass. And oh, the panic that's set in. You can feel it in Cleveland. The Browns just locked themselves into one of the riskiest quarterback contracts in league history, $230 million guaranteed, and now they're watching their division rival pull off a younger, cheaper, cleaner reset. One that comes with potential dynasty upside. If Shedeur goes to the Bengals and delivers, even flashes, the Browns don't just look behind. They look obsolete. Deshaun Watson, for all his past success, has yet to recapture that form in Cleveland. The locker room has questions. The fans have doubts. And the front office? They're sweating bullets, realizing that they were supposed to be the disruptors. Now they're the ones getting disrupted. And the league at large? Oh, they're not thrilled either. Because if this move works, if Shedeur bypasses the draft, jumps straight into a mega deal and delivers at the pro level, it breaks the entire system. Why wait for a draft where you don't control your destination? Why settle for rookie wage scales and prove-it years? Why not let the teams come to you? Shedeur is the prototype of a new football economy. One where leverage isn't just about skill, it's about platform. And don't think the rumors of league collusion came out of nowhere. You really think it's a coincidence that whispers are swirling about insiders trying to stop this from happening? Of course not. There are billions tied to maintaining control over player movement. The combine. The rookie pay scale. The media cycle. The illusion that the league owns the path to success. But when a college player with swagger, poise, and a famous last name starts getting NFL money offers before declaring, that illusion shatters. Shedeur represents everything the old NFL fears. He's confident. He's polished. He doesn't beg for acceptance, he expects it. And worst of all, he might actually be ready. Because this isn't just about potential. The tape is good. The arm is strong. The decision-making is sharp. The leadership is baked in. He's not raw talent. He's a refined product with upside to spare. So if the Bengals are willing to bet $85 million, that's not reckless. That's strategic. It's long-term vision disguised as crisis response. And whether or not Shedeur signs, the message is out. The future of football isn't waiting around anymore. The idea of a team like Cincinnati taking that swing now is a warning shot to every other front office. The days of teams sitting on their hands and letting the system dictate their moves? Over. What happens if this becomes the new normal? Top-tier college players fielding offers before they declare. Mid-season roster gaps filled not with aging veterans, but ascending stars. College football transformed into a high-stakes marketplace, with players moving like free agents instead of prospects. And it all started with this moment. Burrow gets hurt. The Bengals panic. They call Primetime Junior. And now, every camera, every microphone, every executive in the league is waiting for an answer. Will Shedeur Sanders take the bag and break the system wide open? Or will he finish the season with his dad, double down on loyalty, and walk into the draft next year with even more power? Either way, he's not losing. The NFL is now living in Shedeur's world. And whether they like it or not, he's already changed the game. So now it's your turn. Would you take the deal? Should Shedeur jump to the league, stack the money, and reshape the quarterback economy? Or hold the line, keep cooking in college, and let the draft fight over him? Let us know in the comments. And if you live for the meltdowns, the money plays, the quarterback chess matches that turn the whole league upside down, subscribe now. Because this isn't just the start of a new chapter. It's the beginning of a whole new playbook. When was the last time a college quarterback, still playing Saturdays in front of screaming student sections, was the centerpiece of a billion-dollar league's existential crisis? We're not talking about maybe he'll go first in the draft kind of hype. No. This is rewrite the rules, jump the line, and demand the throne type of energy. And Shedeur? He's not flinching. While everyone else is flipping out, fans, insiders, GMs scrambling through cap sheets, he's moving at his own pace. Because that's what you do when you've got generational leverage. You don't react. You dictate. This offer, $85 million straight from the Bengals, isn't just a number. It's a signal. It's a flashing red light saying, we don't care about the process. We want him now. And the reaction? Nuclear. Fans are divided. Some are calling it genius. Others? Delusional. But what's undeniable is the urgency. Let's be real, Burrow's injury didn't just knock the wind out of the Bengals. It exposed a terrifying truth. No team is ever 100% safe, no matter how stacked your roster is, no matter how elite your quarterback looks on paper. One play, one awkward turf toe tweak, and boom, your Super Bowl window is cracked. So yeah, the Bengals are swinging big. Because what's the alternative? They wait? Watch the season circle the drain with a backup quarterback while the Ravens run away with the division? Nah, they're too close to greatness for that. But still, it's bold, because Shedeur isn't just a football player anymore. He's a symbol. He represents a new generation that's not waiting for permission. And that has the NFL establishment on the verge of a full-blown identity crisis. Let's talk about what really terrifies them. What if this becomes normal? What if future college quarterbacks start expecting $50 million plus offers before they declare? What if the entire purpose of the draft collapses under the weight of players picking their teams instead of the other way around? The draft, as it stands, is a carefully controlled PR machine. It creates balance, structure, fairness. But Shedeur is punching holes in that idea, showing what happens when a player builds a brand that's too big to control. He's not just football famous. He's cultural capital. The NIL deals, the media buzz, the primetime DNA, it all adds up to influence. And influence? Well, that's more dangerous to the NFL than any scrambling QB ever will be. Because now you've got players thinking, what if I don't need to wait to be picked? What if I am the pick? And that's why you're seeing whispers of collusion. Executives are worried. TV insiders are suddenly spinning narratives. The idea that some group of old-school power brokers, might be working behind the scenes to block this? Let's not pretend it's far-fetched. The NFL doesn't like being outmaneuvered, especially not by someone outside the traditional system. And Shedeur, let's be honest, is so far outside the system he's practically orbiting it. He's not from a Power 5 dynasty school. He's not taking the polite media route. He's not bowing to pressure. He's doing interviews on his terms. Playing for his dad. Running plays with cameras on the sidelines and merch flying off the shelves. He's already bigger than some NFL starters. And that's before stepping onto a pro field. Now ask yourself, if you're the Bengals and you have a shot at locking down that kind of gravitational pull now, before the draft circus, before competing with other franchises, before his price jumps again, do you hesitate? Apparently not. Because that $85 million offer is a bet on two futures. The short-term chaos fix. The long-term empire move. Even if Burrow comes back healthy, and let's all hope he does, you now have a guy who can push him. Learn from him. Or worst-case scenario, replace him. It's not a diss. It's just insurance. Smart insurance. And for Shedeur, it's a chess move. If he takes the deal, he becomes the most high-profile early entry in modern league history. Maybe ever. The pressure would be enormous. But pressure is where he lives. He's already got haters dissecting his every move. Already has fans riding or dying with every snap. And don't forget, he's not navigating this alone. He's got Dion in his corner, a man who's turned personal branding into an art form, who's played this league, broken it open, and came out the other side as an institution. You think the Sanders family isn't 3 steps ahead? Please. They've seen what the league does to players who try to break molds. But they're also fearless. If Shedeur walks into that locker room, signs that deal, and throws his first pass in Bengals orange, that's not just history. That's a shift. In culture. In economics. In power. And the Browns? Let's talk about the Browns again. Because if there's a franchise that should be feeling the pressure, it's them. They backed the truck up for Deshaun Watson, knowing full well the baggage, the backlash, and the question marks. They placed all their chips on one player, and now? The optics couldn't be worse. Across the division, the Bengals might land a younger, cheaper, less controversial QB with a decade of runway and a media empire built in. That's not just a win. That's a flex. It's checkmate before the game even started. And imagine if Shedeur actually delivers. Imagine him throwing touchdowns to Jamar Chase. Imagine him dicing up the Steelers in primetime. Imagine him stiff-arming defenders on a scramble and staring straight down the camera. You don't just have a QB. You have a phenomenon. Suddenly, Cincinnati isn't just a contender, it's the center of the football universe. TV ratings explode. Jerseys sell out. Analysts start rewriting their top 10 QB lists. Meanwhile, the NFL has to figure out what just happened. Did they lose control of the process? Or did they just discover a new one? Because this isn't going away. The ripple effects are only going to get stronger. Whether or not Shedeur takes the deal, the genie is out of the bottle. Players are watching. Agents are whispering. Nil stars are texting their managers with what-if ideas. And the draft? The sacred, structured, tightly packaged NFL draft? It just lost a little of its grip. So what happens next? That's the beautiful part. Nobody knows. But here's what we do know. This was never just about $85 million. It was about disruption. Shedeur is doing what every young athlete dreams of, calling his own shot, flipping the script, and watching the world scramble to keep up. Whether he signs today, next year, or never, he's already changed the rules. And that's more valuable than any contract. While headlines scream about the Bengals' $85 million offer like it's monopoly money, this moment isn't just about football. It's not even about money, not really. What's happening here is a philosophical war. A generational clash. The NFL, the most tightly managed sports empire in America, is standing toe-to-toe with something it's always feared but never truly faced. Player autonomy. For decades, the league's model has been built on control. Control over the draft, contracts, rookie wages, media narratives, and even player behavior off the field. You enter the NFL, you play by the NFL's rules. You're grateful for the opportunity. You're humble. You're quiet until you've earned your voice. But now, you've got Shedeur Sanders, a quarterback who walks onto a college campus and already knows he's the show. He's not asking for attention, he is the attention. No money? Flowing. National press? Weekly. Cameras? Always rolling. He doesn't have to break into the spotlight. He was born in it. And that's what terrifies the league. Because if this is what quarterback prospects look like now, media savvy, financially secure, and brand aware, then the power dynamic shifts permanently. And this $85 million offer from the Bengals? That's not just a bid. It's an admission. An admission that the old ways don't cut it anymore. That injuries happen, sure, but more importantly, the next generation of stars aren't content waiting their turn. And why should they? Let's not sugarcoat it. The draft is a controlled funnel. A way to keep rising talent on a leash. You don't choose where you go. You don't negotiate real leverage. You accept your rookie contract and wait in line. Unless you're Shedeur Sanders. He's showing the league that with the right name, the right timing, and the right team desperate enough, you can turn the entire system on its head. And the Bengals? They're the perfect spark. Let's talk about that. Cincinnati isn't your usual drama magnet. For years they were overlooked. But then Burrow showed up and changed the vibe. Swaggy, sharp, elite. He made the Bengals relevant again. Now in his absence they've got a choice. Do they patch it up with a Band-Aid? Or do they swing for a once-in-a-generation play? You know the answer. They made the call. They sent the offer. And now we're in the eye of the storm. Meanwhile, over in Cleveland, the Browns are spiraling. Because you can't overpay for a controversial quarterback, watch your division rival outmaneuver you with a bold, strategic chess move, and still act like everything's fine. It's not fine. It's DEFCON 3 in Browns HQ. They thought they were ahead of the curve when they gave Deshaun Watson that fully guaranteed mega deal. But now, That move looks like a rigid gamble from a franchise playing checkers while everyone else is breaking out the chessboard. If Shedeur joins the Bengals, he doesn't just challenge their quarterback room, he redefines the division. Now look, some of you might be saying, hold on, Shedeur hasn't played a snap in the NFL yet. Isn't this all a little premature? And to that I say, you're still thinking like it's 2008. This is not about waiting for production before acknowledging power. This is about recognizing that the value chain has moved upstream. Today, elite college athletes aren't just prospects. They're products, brands, and billion-dollar catalysts. Shedeur doesn't need to throw 20 NFL touchdowns to prove his worth. His impact is already measurable by media coverage, fan engagement, nil revenue, and cultural relevance. He's not chasing the league. The league is chasing him. And it's not just the Bengals. You don't think the rest of the AFC is watching? The Ravens, the Steelers, the Chargers, the Jets, heck, even teams with franchise quarterbacks are doing quiet calculations in the background. Because what if this works? What if the Bengals land Shedeur, get a few wins, and Burrow comes back to find the team running even better without him? That's the kind of question that keeps execs up at night. And let's not forget the human element. Behind all this chaos is a young man with the weight of legacy on his shoulders. Shedeur isn't just playing for himself, he's carrying the vision of prime time, the DNA of a man who already shook the NFL tree once and is clearly ready to do it again through his son. You think Dion doesn't understand the stakes? You think he's not 5 moves ahead of the league? This isn't just a father-son story. It's a multi-generational power play. A dynasty in real time. But let's come back to the choice. Shedeur now stands at a career crossroads that very few athletes ever reach. Take the leap early and change everything, or stay the course and own the draft narrative next year. Either move is a win. If he signs now, he walks into a team with talent, urgency, and a massive spotlight. He goes from NCAA star to NFL revolutionary in a single flight. If he waits, he finishes his college season, builds even more leverage, and lets the entire league fumble over itself trying to position for him in the draft. That's the beautiful part. He can't lose. And no matter what he does, one thing is already clear. The game has changed. The blueprint is broken. And in its place? A wide-open field where quarterbacks don't just play, they negotiate. Where college stars don't just wait, they decide. Where brand is as valuable as a spiral. And legacy? That's a currency all its own. We are watching a seismic shift in real time. Whether the Bengals get their man or not, whether the Browns recover or collapse, whether the league adapts or resists, the future is already here. And it's wearing a number 2 jersey. This isn't just Shedeur versus the NFL. This is college football feeling the quake, the media industry adjusting its lens, and high school quarterbacks watching all of this unfold thinking, so, I don't have to wait anymore? That's the real domino effect. It's not about one offer or one injury, it's about shifting the entire balance of power from boardrooms to locker rooms. And guess what? The NFL isn't the only one feeling nervous. College coaches are sweating too. See, Deion Sanders didn't just recruit a great quarterback, he raised one. One that became the face of his program, the reason national cameras showed up in Boulder, Colorado. Shedeur was the draw. The storyline. The gravity well that pulled fans, scouts, and brands into the orbit of a team most people had ignored for years. So if Shedeur leaves early, that changes the entire structure of Coach Prime's program. And yet, he wouldn't stop him. He couldn't. That's not how this family moves. Because for them, this was never just about football. It's about building a new blueprint. A path where young black athletes are allowed to be bold, powerful, strategic, and unapologetically ahead of their time. Let's be real, the old system was never built for players like Shedeur. It was built to manage them, slow them down, humble them first, then celebrate them later, if they stayed in line. But this generation? They're not waiting for permission. They're not bowing to legacy systems. They are the legacy. So no matter what decision Shedeur makes, he's already cracked the ceiling. He's already redefined what leverage looks like before you even enter the league. He's shown that branding, performance, and power can live together, not in conflict but in synergy. And now the league has 2 choices, evolve with it or get left behind. So let the panic simmer in Cleveland. Let the speculation churn on sports talk shows. Let execs whisper about how to contain this moment. Because they're too late. The game has already changed. And for every kid tossing spirals in the backyard dreaming of Sundays, there's a new playbook being written. One that starts before the draft with confidence, strategy, and no fear of shaking up the status quo. You still think this is just about $85 million? Please, this is about the future. And Shedeur Sanders? He's not waiting for it. Is it? So what do you think? Should Shedeur take the money and break the NFL matrix right now? Or ride the college wave a little longer and enter the league with even more leverage? Let us know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, where football meets chaos, ego meets opportunity, and the power dynamic flips before your eyes, you know what to do. Subscribe. Because this saga isn't ending. It's just getting started.